Bit of an unusual start for the men in pink, generally used to getting off the blocks really strongly, particularly if they haven't lost a bunch of wickets and if Butler's been around for a while. He was around for a while, scoring at under 100, then got out, and along with Devdutt Padikkal, they'll no longer have their services for the rest of the innings. Samson looking good to finally give us a captain's knock for the season. He's been joined by Karun Nair, who came into the team for in this particular game in place of Daryl Mitchell. So it remains to be seen how they go along. Umesh Yadav and Tim Southee have been the wicket takers. I'm joined on Cricbuzz Comm Box by Joy Bhattacharjya. Joy, certainly KKR, if you had given them the score at the 10 over mark, they'd take it with both hands and send you a return gift as well.
Absolutely. And I think it's been tremendous bowling. And I was just looking down that bowling lineup. And then you look at it and you realize that at the start of the season, when they went into the auction, perhaps only one of these five bowlers was the first choice bowler, which was Sunil Narayan. If you look at the others, Umesh Yadav, Anukul Roy, Shivam Mavi, Tim Southee, all of them have been replacements of some sort or the other who sort of made it big and come out there for them. But given all that, they've done superbly well for them. I mean, particularly impressed by Anukul Roy to bowl to the likes of Samson in that first six and be able to get a couple of overs in, I think was absolutely exceptional.
Yeah, I think forget start of the auction. If I cast my mind back, they probably were all bought in the second half of day two. So they wouldn't even have figured in their plans when at the end of day one, Shreyas Iyer had been taken. So was Pat Cummins. You were talking about the big players. Then you're going to start creating the team. So these were all last minute additions in that sense, but they've all done really well. Umesh started things off. How would you look at the surface? That's the look at Umesh's 3 overs. They like to bowl him pretty much like Mohammad Shami. Shivam Mavi has a good record against Rajasthan. That's why Shreyas said they've put him in the team. But in terms of the actual surface, was it Jos Buttler just having an off day, or is it something slightly different?
It's slightly different. I wouldn't say that, all of it is the surface. Buttler also has been subdued, and Buttler just knew it wasn't his day, and he tried to bat through as they say, the ugly bat through and still make your way there, but it just didn't happen for them. And I was actually quite really impressed. People are talking about, we were talking before the show about Sanju Samson, and I've really been impressed by the way he's played on the surface, because he's not taken any chances and yet he's batted beautifully. And Buttler was just looking to, it was a matter of time as to when he'd get out, because you knew he'd have to try something stupid at that point.
But I think all the more credit, if you mentioned Samsung in that breath, all the more credit to him, because he would have, so far he's been feeding off a Buttler or of anybody else who might be hitting hard. Today, he suddenly realized that if Butler's not going well, maybe I'm the one who has to lead the way, not just as captain, but as leading batsman. And I think that's what the new role he's taken up.
Absolutely. I think he's been really good. And as a captain, he's played the situation. And I genuinely feel that number 3 is the spot for him. He shouldn't go at 4. 3 is the place where he should really stabilize, because he has the ability to both accelerate and, play long innings if he wants to.
Yeah, they've experimented with a few. They've had Ravichandran Ashwin walking in suddenly on a couple of occasions. So I think this time they seem to have got things right. Karun Nair will have his own role to play, but they'll need the explosion if they want to get to their typical Rajasthan type total joy of a Shimron Hetmeyer. Riyan Parag, of course, is now in a different zone, having played the way he played the other day. So with those two to come, and then Ravichandran Ashwin, they'll want to try and get somehow to a 180.
Yeah, they'll want to get to a 180. And if they get to anything above 165, 170, this is not going to be an easy surface to bat on. And especially when you have class spinners of the quality of Ashwin and this thing Chahal waiting for you, this is not going to be easy to bat on. So, yeah, I think just by the way Kolkata has used spinners, you'd probably think that this is a spinner's surface.
We already saw the bowling figures. I think let's look at it one more time in the context of bowling to come. We are seeing over number 11 at the moment in progress. Couple of boundaries for Sanju Samson. This is being bowled by Shivam Mavi. So that Mavi is bowled 2. So Mavi will have 2. Southee will have 3. And then he'll have to get the rest out of Anukul Roy, Sunil Narayan and Umesh Yadav. I think everybody's done decently enough that they don't need to look elsewhere. Or do you think Russell still gets a couple at the end?
I think Russell still gets a couple it depends. Sunil Narayan, they can bowl at the end. But I think if Anukul Roy is stuck, they might they might wonder what to do with him at that point. Also, if Shivam Mavi goes for a few in this over as he's threatening to, then perhaps things could be a little bit different.
Yep. So 5 bowlers used, possibly Andre Russell to bowl his 18 or 20, or maybe even just one solitary over, as has been typical of him. So what are we looking at? Whose prediction are we looking at? Because we had a bit of a spread in there. Are you looking good for your prediction at the moment?
It's still, barring a masterclass from Sanju Samson, I think I'm still looking good.
All right. We like that. We like that confidence to say that, okay, I've said it and I'm sticking by it. But that is realistically what is the most likely score at this point in time, which Kolkata won't be too unhappy with. That's all we have on Cricbuzz Comm Box. We'll see you at the end to see exactly how many they are chasing to start their possible run of 5 victories on the bounce. That's all we have.